Obama speaking to the Congressional Black Caucus. Now look, let me stop here. You know how I feel about the CBC. CBC used to be something, the CBC was formed to help put black issues on the map in Congress, to help raise black awareness, to help deal with black issues from the rural lands to the inner cities, to help black people overcome some of the struggles. That was the purpose of the CBC. Now, I got two things I want to deal with, and that was the dinner, the final dinner of Barack Obama with the CBC, the Congressional Black Caucus. Now, I want to replace that first C word from congressional to something else. It's an animal with a little stripy tail, but I'm not going to do that. Because let's face the fact, they have done nothing, and I repeat, nothing for the black community in the last 8 years. Now, Obama standing at the CBC made these statements about election fraud. Watch this.
And when across this country in 2016, there are those who are still trying to deny people the right to vote, we've got to push back twice as hard. Right now, in multiple states, Republicans are actively and openly trying to prevent people from voting, adding new barriers to registration, cutting early voting, closing polling places in predominantly minority communities, refusing to send out absentee ballots, kicking people off the rolls, often incorrectly. This should be a national scandal. We were supposed to have already won that fight. We're the only advanced democracy in the world that is actively discouraging people from voting.
He mentioned about election fraud. Obama, who do you think we are? You think we dummies? You think we're stupid? Your organization that you represent, that you got elected on, and that's the Democratic Party, colluded, connived, and schemed to railroad another Democratic from becoming president. Not only did they collude it and connived and scheme to kind of screw it and stick it to Bernie Sanders, and I get with you, Sanders, because you really around like a little wuss and not addressing the issue, and it's not helping anything, it's encouraging it. But for you to say that and not even say anything about what's went on in the primaries when you know the rolls was purged, you got to mention purging of the rolls, and you didn't mention it when it was happening in the primary because you want to get your girl to become the president. You got to mention the purging of the rolls. You got to mention all this stuff about election fraud. It was widespread election fraud. Hillary Clinton wouldn't have never won if it wasn't for the election fraud. Election fraud, not voter fraud. It's different. Voter fraud is somebody pretending to come in, election fraud. She wouldn't have won without it. She wouldn't have won New York, and she wouldn't have won California without it. Studies said that Bernie Sanders won this thing by 15%. That if it wasn't for widespread election fraud, she wouldn't have won. And if it wasn't for the exit polls was totally off, you guys cheated. You cheated for your girl. It was a tilt against the scale for Bernie Sanders from the jump point when you made Debbie Wasserman Schultz the one who ran her party against you in 2008, who came up with the birther issue and all this other stuff, all this other racism. You talking about racism now? Racism then. Hillary Clinton and her camp was doing that. Come on, and you did not say anything about it in this election. Close your mouth when it comes to talking about election fraud, because your mouth been closed. You might as well keep closing it. Don't open your mouth right now and insult people like me who bust my behind out there to campaign for that man, and then have this thing, whole thing derailed for that man, have the whole thing be cheated for her. It's an insult to me. It's an insult to all the Bernie Sanders supporters. It's an insult to independents who wanted to vote for Sanders, couldn't because of closed primaries. And when there were open primaries or semi-open primaries, you cheated. The Democratic Party, the DNC, cheated to get Hillary to where she was. She got the nomination by hook and crook. She's not a legitimate winner of that race. She got about hook and crook, and she's not a legitimate winner of the primaries in the 2016 campaign. She cheated her way, and the DNC helped her cheat her way. And we all know that the DNC is run by the Clintons. It's not even run by you, Mr. President. It's ran by the Clintons. So for you to mention election fraud and widespread rolls and widespread voter fraud and election fraud and widespread people purging the rolls and they cutting down the polling places, and it's hard for you to say that now. For you to say that now is an insult to every Bernie Sanders supporter, every independent. And then you want our vote? Bad enough you won't open up the election and ask for our vote during the primaries, but now you want to come to the general and beg and plead for our votes? Now I get to voting in a minute. Shame on you for saying that. And then on top of that, you're going to push and campaign for the woman who was colluding, who was in charge of it. And then John Lewis, Mr. Freedom Fighter, Mr. Let's make elections available, let's get rid of the count of beans in the jar and all this kind of stuff. For you to know that this woman did this, that she had to step down as a result of it, for you to know this, and you go campaign, and the rest of any CBC member who went and campaigned for this woman, you're a fraud. You're not for black people. I don't care what you say. You're not even for America. You're un-American as they come, and you shouldn't even be sitting in the Senate. And anybody who went out there and campaigned for that woman need to resign. Should have been campaigning. And why is she running anyway? Isn't that a crime? Isn't election fraud a crime? Shouldn't she be convicted? And the problem is, nowadays people want to overlook scandals and overlook crimes and just want to slap people on the wrist. That's the problem with America now. But when I go outside and I smoke some weed on the corner, and it might be for my eye. If I don't have the paperwork, I'm going to jail. But when you find somebody in blatant corruption, from election fraud all the way to breaking State Department laws, you don't say nothing about that, President Obama. Your mouth is closed. And now you're going to go into the house of black people, so-called black people, who's supposed to be fighting for black issues, and talk all this trash. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. You have no right to talk about elections and this year. And you need to get your butt back to the White House and help finish some work and do your job. Your job is not campaigner-in-chief. You're supposed to be out there campaigning for her. If she can't stand on her own, she don't deserve to be president. And I know you feel embarrassed because Trump running. And Trump said some things about you, and you mocked Trump all year. And now you're scared that it's going to bite you in the behind. I don't give a crap about Trump. Trump don't scare me. You're going to use this fear card to try to scare people in voting for her. And you're going to use racism to try to scare people into vote for Clinton, knowing that she's an underlying racist herself, and my last video proved that. So come on, Doc. You should not be talking about election at all. Sure. Now, let me get to what Obama said at the CBC. Watch this.
There's no such thing as a vote that doesn't matter. It all matters. And after we have achieved historic turnout in 2008 and 2012, especially in the African American community, I will consider it a personal insult, an insult to my legacy, if this community lets down its guard and fails to activate itself in this election. You want to give me a good send-off? Go vote. And I'm going to be working as hard as I can these next 7 weeks to make sure folks do.
Now, I have to admit, some people are going crazy saying, Obama saying it's an insult if the black community don't turn out to vote for Hillary Clinton. Now, that is not what he said. Let's be truthful. He said it was be an insult if the black community don't turn out and vote. Now, we know he ain't gonna say it. That I think that's the reason why he didn't say it, because he knew it was gonna be a backlash. But because we know he's so in the pocket of the Clintons that Hillary got him in the palm of her hand, that he's so in the back pocket of Clinton, he's so scared that Trump's gonna tear up his legacy. But even though he didn't say it, we know that's what he meant. But he did not say if they don't turn out for Clinton. Now, I agree with him. And I don't hate Obama. Some things, what he had to work with, it's kind of tough. The blatant opposition, he's right about the opposition. He's right. Ever since Bill Clinton's second term to Obama, first term, and I was on 2008 campaign for Obama, voter turnout was a dismal low in the black community. We figure, hey, nobody cares about us. Nobody's going to help us out. Why should we vote? And we did vote. And I got to admit to you, a lot of us, when Obama ran, a lot of us voted for him because he was black. Now, I didn't vote for him because he was black, but him being black was like the extra on the sauce. A little prejudice in them. Not racism, but prejudice. Prejudging. So, yeah. But once I looked at his record as a community organizer, because I was looking for activists. I think activists should run more for president. That's why I'm for Jill Stein, because she's an activist. She comes from the community. Hillary Clinton ain't come from my community. She don't have nothing to do with my community. Man, please. She understands what it's like to be black in America, or Hispanic in America, or Latino in America, or no. She's white privilege. Is there something wrong with white privilege? No. I like white privileges, but we need to have black privileges, Hispanic privileges. Everybody should have an opportunity to be privileged. Now, I digress. For her. So, she don't understand the needs of the community, and that's why I voted for Obama the first time. Second time, I didn't even touch the campaign. I went for Jill Stein. Why? Why? As a protest vote? No. Because Jill Stein represents everything that I wanted to happen in the future. In the now and the future. The progress. And just to let you know, newsflash, Green Party is more Democratic than the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party has leaned so much over to become a Republican lightweight, and you can see it in Hillary Clinton's touting of the endorsement of all these war criminals. John Negroponte, I can't even pronounce his name, and Kissinger, and you got Bush Sr., and you probably got Bush, George W. supporting her. Come on, man. These are the people who brought our economy down, who brought us in all these wars, who has the light mind of Hillary Clinton. That's her girl. Because they know that she's going to promote their agenda. They're voting for her not out of fear of Trump. They're voting for her because Trump is going to go totally opposite from the Republican-based policies, because Trump's going to have his own policy. He don't care nothing about no Republican-based policy. He has his own plan. And it's totally in opposition of what mainstream Republicans want. Mainstream Republicans, what they want, Hillary represent. Big money interests. Therefore, the TPP, therefore, money in politics, therefore, building pipelines, dealing with the pipelines across the country, therefore fracking and all this stuff. That's what Hillary is for. That's why they want her, and that's why she's touting her. My thing is, how the way are you going to say there's a Republican conspiracy and you going to them asking them for their vote? Come on now. Really? So, I voted for Obama the first time. Second term I didn't, because he went corporate-centric. He became corporate Obama, not the people's Obama. He ran on the people's Obama in unity and became the corporate Obama, and has separated us more than anything. Now, for you to say it's a direct insult to my legacy if the black community don't come out and vote, that's true in two parts. That's true and that's false. Number one, it's true that why are black people planning on sitting out? You voted, you gave vote. The first time you was excited to vote for Obama. Most people was excited. Wasn't going to vote for a man who was shutting down his businesses and taking it overseas and coming out on top. Romney, we voted Obama. I mean, Kane, we wasn't going to do that for Kane and his billionaire wife with her beer company, who don't know our issues. We wasn't going to vote for him. But in 2012, we wasn't going to vote for Romney. But we realized that Obama didn't do anything for the black community in particular. He hooked up the LGBT community. He hooked them up. He hooked up all kind of communities. He hooked up people who's coming into this country. He fixed some things concerning Latinos coming into America. He hooked everybody up but black people. And black people voted for him because we knew that we were going to have somebody in there that's going to finally deal with these systemic issues like racial profiling and the cops killing and all this kind of stuff. It got worse. So I agree with him. Black people need to come out in droves again. But here I tell you, black people, go look at the policies of Gary Johnson. Go look at the policies of Donald Trump. Go look at the policies of Hillary Clinton if she got one, because I haven't heard it. All I heard was, but Trump, 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 but Trump. That's the only song they're singing. I haven't heard any plan, any idea, any vision, any dream. I haven't heard any of that. Go look at Jill Stein's policy. And I say it again, the Green Party is more Democratic than the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party has become like Republican lightweight party. And she's trying to merge the two together. And I'm here to let you know right now, it is not a good thing for her to try to tout the endorsement of Republicans. Because what it's going to do is going to hurt the down ticket, especially in the next session, in the next voting session. Because now these people are going to say, hey, Hillary Clinton embraced our endorsement. I mean, come on. Real progressives, this is bad. A Democratic, so-called progressive, reaching out to Republicans, not reaching out to true progressive, not reaching out to the Bernie or Bust supporters. No, screw them. I'm going out here and get me some Republicans. That is not good for the whole general of the Democratic. Now, that could be a good thing, because this Democratic Party need to be dismantled and restructured from the bottom up. Bernie tried his best, but Bernie, you can't start a revolution in a counter-revolutionary party. You had your chance to start a revolution with a third party, because the majority of people in America do not lean toward the two-party system. You have to force them to vote for one. And now most of them are not going to be forced. And I am one of them. So yes, I agree with President Obama. It's a direct insult to his legacy, being the first black man to get elected twice, to have landslide voter turnout in the first one. Second one, still a huge, significant turnout, but not as big as it was because people got distasteful with the first term of Obama. So now they see the dumb choices we got right now of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Lord God, help us. And I'm here to let you know, people, there's more people running, and they don't want them to be known or heard. The debate commission do not want them to show up at the debates. They're shutting them out right now. Well, you got to get to 15%. They will be past 15% if they polled 18 years old to 35-year-old adults. They don't want to ask questions about candidates over the millennials, because millennials are not going to go for either one of these two candidates. And so they got to try to stop the 15% from popping up to keep these two out of the debates. But yet these two people said, we're going to come to the debates by hell or high water. We're coming. Because we should not be locked out, and they're right. If they could poll and get in by 75% of the states to win, they should be in the debates. And for you to not say anything, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, makes you a coward. You say you're for a free America, but you promote tyranny? What do you mean by tyranny? Tyranny shuts the voices out of other people who want. You call them oppositions. You shut them out. That's tyranny. You should say, let them in. My party's stronger than, let them say what they got to say. What? You scared? You chicken? Wah? You punk? You wuss? I think so. So, yes, Obama made that statement. He did not say Hillary, but we know he's applying Hillary. I'm saying black people turn out to vote. But you better look at your other options before you turn out to vote. Because the golden girl Hillary Clinton, you got this figment in your imagination about who she is, and she's none of that. You go look at the record. I thought that. And I'm here to tell you, Democrats, the Green Party, is more Democratic than you can be in one finger. Because they champion people-driven goals and purposes, not corporate-driven goal and purpose. They care about the environment, they care about the homeless, and they're doing whatever they can to rally for them. That's what I lean toward. That's why I'm for Jill Stein, because the activist is always working for the people. They're not corporatists. Hillary Clinton is not an activist. Donald Trump is not an activist. Black Caucus, Congressional Black Caucus. What have you guys done to rally around black people and black issues and black causes? What have you done? How have you changed the police structure? What have you done? Nothing. So I agree with President Obama on this end. The black vote need to come out no matter what. It should always be huge. But he never said it's an insult to me if you don't get out and vote for Hillary Clinton. He never said that. But we know he implied that, but he never said that. To be truthful, he never said that. But we know who he wants people to go out and black people to vote for. He wanted them to vote for Hillary Clinton because the things he worked hard for is on the table. A lot of things is on the table. A lot of things is in this vote. I'm here to say to you, Hillary Clinton is not going to advance his agenda. She has her own agenda. She's not going to try to extend Obama's legacy because she wants her own legacy. Her own legacy isn't going to be about Obama. That would be an insult to her and what she worked so hard and waited so hard for. Her dream is to become president, not to help the American people. He want another notch. Same thing with Trump. Become president so I can get another notch. It's not to help the American people. So yes, he's right. The black folk need to turn out, but they don't need to turn out for Clinton. I would tell you need to turn out for Jill Stein. You can't tell me a third party can't win. If it wasn't for a third party, we wouldn't have had the Emancipation Proclamation. The Republican Party under Abraham Lincoln is a direct result of a third party run. And if you keep listening to people run their mouth about stuff like that, if you don't believe, the phrase is whether you believe you do or you believe you can't, you're right. If you believe that a third party can dismantle these two shams of politicians running for president who's under indictment, can't pass a polygraph test, always in some kind of scandal, can't always doing, I mean, come on people, do better than that. Jill Stein, take a look at her. Take a look at Gary Johnson. Take a look at somebody other than these two. I'm leaning toward Jill Stein. She have great policies, include reparations for African Americans in the Indian Nation. She have good policy, $15 an hour, eliminate student debt right away, free colleges, college as a right, Medicare as a right, a whole bunch of stuff. So look at your candidates. Don't go by name brand. Look at their record. Hillary Clinton never had, is not qualified. I don't care what Obama says. She's more qualified than me, Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, anybody. It's not true. She sucked as state senator. She sucked as secretary of state. There's no landmark golden thing that she can tout that she did. Nothing but way back then, the Children's Defense Fund and the 911. That's it. So yeah, I agree with him. First of all, I'm in here. Shut up about voting fraud. Voting or election fraud. You cannot talk. You didn't say nothing back then, so don't start saying nothing now. Be quiet. And yes, I agree with him. Black people need to get out and vote. But I disagree. Black people need to get out and vote for Jill Stein. Now I'm Robert Brown, baby. Freedom on Fire. You heard it?